Welcome back to Enka, and welcome back to another. I was literally about to say movie review.
We do too many of those.
We do too many more
We
reviews.
have a really fun episode, I feel like, today.
We really do.
Yeah.
All of Caitlin's ideas.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for admitting that it was my idea.
I'll give you the credit.
Thank you.
Because I didn't grow up with this. You did.
Okay. Correction. I did not grow up with this. But in the new year, I want to do more episodes that are kind of more like a video essay.
Yeah.
An analysis on different parts of the film industry, from made to TV, direct to DVD, pop culture, everything that is happening outside of what is just being released.
Yeah.
So if you enjoy this episode, definitely give us some feedback.
Some ideas.
Some ideas for any future episodes that you might want us, and topics to talk about. That
We'll talk about this a little bit more in the future, but 2024 is going to be a big change towards, in a direction that originally the podcast was supposed to be. Not only movie reviews, but just like the broader experience of what it means to be a filmmaker and what it is to be in the industry. So hopefully we're gonna divert a little bit more into that direction, not leaving behind the movie reviews.
Of course, we'll still do movie reviews,
which we know people love,
but we're gonna diversify.
Yes.
So today, might as well jump into it. We are talking about Hallmark, the made fun of, atrocious movie channel that everybody on the internet makes fun of every time this year comes around.
Yet they watch it.
Yet we eat those movies up. We, as in my demographic, in case you're wondering. Hallmark movies. I did not grow up with them.
But they
I
were a
did
thing.
stumble upon them on occasion because I did grow up with cable, as many people
They're
our
usually
age
free
did.
on TV channels.
But these are always directed TV made, you know, so they're not going to be in the theaters, hence why they kind
a couple
of have
of them
a cult
go
following.
to the theaters. They're not Hallmark made, but they're Hallmark-esque.
And we'll get into what that means in case you don't know. But yeah, when was the first time you heard about Hallmark?
Probably when I got here. Yeah, I've heard of Hallmark as a term, and then I started seeing the Hallmark greeting cards, and I'm like, wait, I'm a little bit confused.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. That can get confusing.
Yeah.
It took me a while to even realize that those were like the same companies.
And then I was told that there were Hallmark stores.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, what are these people doing with their life? Like, they're just trying to do everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have a whole question how Hallmark movies became a thing that we'll touch on in just a sec. I just want to go into a little bit of my history on Hallmark.
Okay.
So I stumbled upon this movie called Christmas with Holly. Now, this movie is a movie that I demand to watch every single
You quickly
year.
made me aware of the fact that this was going to be a thing.
Yes. The moment we started dating, I was like, I need to watch this movie. It's basically equivalent to how I need to watch Home Alone, Elf, Paul Blart Mall Cop every single year. It has become that movie. If you don't know what Christmas with Holly is, it's based off this book called Christmas at Friday Harbor. And yes, I did read the book because I was that immersed into it. But it's this really adorable story of a guy whose sister passed away. So he is now the sole caretaker of his niece. But his niece, who's dealing with a lot of grief, she's only like 6-7 years old, something like that. She no longer speaks. It's like a selective mutism kind of thing.
Kind of like PTSD.
Exactly, like trauma-related mutism. And so he decides, we're going to move back to where he's from and where like him and her mom grew up on Friday Harbor, which is right off of Seattle, Washington.
It's like an island.
It's a real place. And that's when he ends up meeting this girl, Maggie, who previously was left at the altar by who she thought was her true love, and decides she's going to rebuild her life and make a toy store on this itty-bitty little island and open it up during Black Friday weekend. Little girl, toy store, their paths collide, and it is the cutest story.
The guy has a girlfriend.
We don't talk about that girlfriend. Either way, I eat that story up every time. Every time I see it, there's just something about it that draws me back in. And that is what I wanted to try to get to the bottom of today. How are these movies still being made? Where did this all start and come from? Because they've been around for like as long as we've been alive.
I really like the movie, actually.
You liked Christmas with Holly?
Yeah.
It's free on YouTube. You didn't hear that.
Not the best
me.
quality.
Not the best quality at all. But yeah, so let's get into how Hallmark became the Hallmark Channel. Because the history of it is a little interesting. There's like a lot of roller coastery bumps along the way. And if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my notes because I'm a prepared working gal today.
It's a gal that is prepared.
I'm a gal on the go. So Hallmark, the greeting card company is what we're going to talk about first.
Okay.
So Hallmark became a thing in 1910 with this teenager named Joyce Clyde Hall. He started selling some printed postcards.
Hallmark.
You see where it's going, yeah. So he was like a pretty successful businessman, it seems. So in 1914, his brother joined him, and they formed like the Hall Brothers Company. It was not Mark. I don't know his name. I don't remember his name, but Hall Brothers was their greeting card company. I keep touching the mic. I'm so sorry. So in 1928 is when they officially went by Hallmark. I don't know why Mark necessarily was added, but it's not because there's someone named Mark on the team. But that's when they were going by that. And that's also when they got their logo, was in that year, because they got more notoriety, especially because they did a lot of cards for World War I and World War II. Like they kind of got notoriety. And the term Hallmark holiday came into public vocabulary at around that time as well, because of the popularity of the greeting cards. So it wasn't until 1951 that Joyce Hall began wanting to go into television. Obviously, this was like when TV was becoming popular. So I think he kind of saw an in as a way to expand the company, kind of like how we want to expand the podcast. So originally, all of the television that they took part in was sponsoring TV-made productions, whether that be of a Broadway play, original films that they wrote, operas, or like literary adaptations. It's like a variety of that. And so they continue this for a while. They then developed Crown Media, which was founded in 1991, their own little media company thing attached to Hallmark, so it was separate from the greeting card company. And then they also brought in this religious network that was titled Odyssey in 2001. So they kind of combined it into one massive Hallmark channel. And so it was
they bought out.
I believe so. Okay. Yeah. They kind of took it in, and then they fully took it over by 2001. So then the channel, from that point on, did a lot of original films that all had kind of like a family entertainment focus. They did have like some mysteries stuff in there, some obviously like romance, literary adaptation stuff.
Yeah, because Hallmark also makes like non-holiday movies.
Yeah, they do have like Hallmark mysteries and whatnot. That's a whole nother section. Obviously not as popular, but they did that as well. So as we go into Christmas, though, here's kind of where that all started. I started with one movie that kind of sealed it in for them. So this one article from the New Yorker was talking about how like popular movies at the time, like Home Alone, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, Love Actually, The Holiday, like those were all like in theaters.
Yeah.
So TV just like wasn't seen as like the place to watch them unless it was potentially like a really old movie
that went through theaters, then maybe DVD.
Exactly,
then,
yeah. Like Red Rudolph, How Santa Claus Came to Town, those like 60s cartoons, they probably were already on TV. Yeah. But those are for the kids.
You're not going to get a new movie
exactly
straight to the TV.
All the newer movies were in the theaters, which made sense. Theater is still booming. They still do that. But then they made their first Christmas movie called The Christmas Card.
Okay.
So the script...
Because they make cards.
I know, isn't that kind of funny? So the script for Hallmark Channel's first major Christmas movie was completed in 1999, and that was before the network was operational. So once the network became operational, they then sort of greenlighted it.
So it was already on the works, and it was in their heads.
Exactly, that they wanted to get it done. It was apparently an immediate hit. It broke records when it aired, and that is still... like they still show that like year after year because of how popular it is.
I've never watched it. We should definitely take a look.
Definitely, yeah. So they after the Christmas card, they kind of saw that like this worked really well. Maybe there's an in for Christmas related content that you can work into. So this article continues saying that the CEO and president of Crown Media, Bill Abbott, transformed Hallmark into a Christmas movie making machine. The secret, a family-friendly formula that's so precise and G-rated that the Christmas card wouldn't get made today. And in case you're wondering, Christmas card mentions war, has a male character as its protagonist, which are both two no-nos. And I'll go into the formula for Hallmark movies, but yeah, Hallmark movies are nice and fluffy and kind of female-centered for a reason. But from 2009 on, it's aired over 300 Christmas movies. And there's been a sprinkling of Hanukkah-related movies, but not as much. And then in 2015, Crown Media became its own official production company, so they were able to take charge of every aspect of the development process for the films, from the script writing to locations, post-production. All of that is now through their own company. They don't have to outsource. And also they
should have kept outsourcing.
I don't know if that would have helped. The channel itself has also hired some like well-known faces in media. Candace Cameron Bure was in Full House. She's been in a lot. Chad Michael Murray, who I just discovered was in a Hallmark movie, is in Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
So a lot of those like teen in the early 2000s stars were in movies that has like carried along.
So
that
I don't know how
generation.
big of a relation it has, but I mean, in our personal TV, we actually have this one channel set to be playing Christmas movies all day long. It's just called Movie Hop Channel. I don't know if it's Hallmark movies or just Hallmark-esque movies.
But I'm going to say a little bit of both.
Yeah. But it definitely is like faces that you recognize, but you don't know from where.
Yeah.
It shows a lot of that. Or like faces that maybe were not famous but became famous, or were like famous when kids, but now that they're adults, they don't really have a lot of fame. So they go into Hallmark. I think there's a lot of that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's just so many. There's an insane amount. If I could try to put all of the movies I ever made into like a graphic, I don't think they would fit. There's just like a ginormous amount. And what's crazy is that they're still popular, even though cable like popularity has been declining. That's kind of the segment I'm going into next, is like, are they even popular anymore? So Hallmark like itself routinely places in the top 20, and sometimes even the top 10 among like all cable channels in its demographics. And its demographic is mainly targeted women ages 18 to 54. I'll say that they break it into 25 and 54 and 18 to 49. But either way, it's one of the top rated channels. And fun fact, it is then immediately vaulted into first place by November.
Wow.
And it maintains that through December.
So Hallmark is the Mariah Carey of movies.
Yes, 100%. And so in 2016, the opening weekend of the channel's annual Christmas Palooza, as they called it, drew 15.2 million unique viewers.
Wow.
But in 2017, it pulled 17.6 million unique viewers, as a 16% increase. They have a streaming platform now that probably skyrocketed even more with everybody having to stay home. Overall, during the Christmas season, according to Forbes, more than 80 million people watch at least a few minutes of a Hallmark movie. And most weeks in November and December, Hallmark ranks number one among the advertiser-friendly demographics as well. So it's all safe. Nice.
Yeah, not rated R. Definitely
There's
not
nothing rated R on the Hallmark Channel. That also means that the channel can charge premium pricing for their advertising because they want it to specifically connect to their in-demand audience. So previous estimates have found that Hallmark Channel generates a third of its annual revenue just from Christmas movies. That equates to more than $350 million.
That's amazing.
I know.
For what seems to be cheaply made movies.
Oh, and these are cheaply made. Yeah. I'll go into the numbers, but they are cheaply made. Hey, do you have
$5 to make a movie really quick?
Yeah, literally. And obviously, like we said, they play these movies every day, all day.
On repeat.
Since 2011, from late October to January, Hallmark has broadcast Christmas movies nearly 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
I mean, on this channel that we have, we found the same movie playing like 3 different days in a row.
Yeah. That tells me that it's not Hallmark because they would have had a larger category, but that's a lot of free play. It's definitely similar. Every day, different movie.
Yeah.
It's also, funny enough, Hallmark continues this specific programming throughout the year. So it's not just like the Christmas season that they do like this hyper specific programming for. They have movies for each season that we go into. So Vox.com was talking about how the Christmas Time strategy is gradually colonizing the rest of its calendar, from its Winterfest in January to its countdown to Valentine's Day in February to its Harvest Festival month in the fall. And they also continue on saying that few TV networks program to the change of the seasons like Hallmark does, and it's part of the network's contradictory appeal. Turn it on and you'll find something that feels vaguely timeless, in that it probably could have been made in the 1940s, but also applicable to whatever time of year it is right now, which I think is pretty funny.
So you don't have to be searching around like best blank movies for this time of year.
Just turn on the Hallmark Channel and come February,
right there,
thousands of romance movies. This is for the YouTube channel. We just stared at his sister going into the kitchen. She did not look at us even once, didn't acknowledge our presence at all.
She didn't realize we were That's so funny.
Anyways, weirdly enough, I don't know what movies this applies to, but the Hallmark Channel has won over 80 Emmys.
What?
I know. I never associate Hallmark with good movies.
I mean, like Christmas with Holly is a decently well-made movie, and compared to other Hallmark movies, I think it has a shot at stuff.
Yeah, but I don't know. I really don't know.
Huh. It really makes me want to dive into the world of Hallmark.
Am I converting him? Oh my god. Okay.
No, I'm just curious.
So now we get into the big question. How can they afford to make so many movies? They make hundreds of movies and they're going to keep making more. How do they have the time, the patience, the energy, the wallet? I know they make a lot of money. We've already established that. But how are they making so many movies without going bankrupt? Because if one movie's bad... as we know, how are they still making such good profits at the end of the day?
Because, I mean, the way I see it is that only older people buy Christmas cards, say Hallmark cards. And Hallmark movies seem to be for also just an older demographic.
I know.
But based on what you were saying, it isn't. It's just the illusion of it.
There's something addicting about it.
The illusion.
Yeah. I'll go into that. They specifically market their movies for that illusion. I'll go into that. So Bustle.com was talking about how Hallmark movies are birthed. They say, quote, many Hallmark movies are birthed by producers sitting in a conference room, spitballing catchy movie titles, and then working backward to shape a plot line around the title. Says an industry source who were asked to remain anonymous. If they come up with a title they liked, say Christmas on the Rocks, for example, they'd send me to surf the web for a family who rock climbs every Christmas, or a rock star who falls in love with a caroler. Anything. It was like writing a punchline before the joke. Certainly not organic, but it got them where they needed to go.
You know what this is?
What?
Elf, the movie, where they're trying to figure out the next big children's book in their meeting. And they're just like, listen, how about The Farm?
A tribe of asparagus children who's concerned about how their pee smells.
This is literally
That is how they do that.
Do you think that's a pun?
I don't think that they necessarily related it back to Hallmark.
Oh my goodness, that's insane.
But that is how they do it. Insert scene.
If A24 or Universal or any of these other actual organizations did that, that would not work.
These movies are incredibly quick. They, according to... I don't remember what this link is called. I'll put it somewhere. It's a magazine that was talking about Hallmark movies, and they said that the pitch of when the film is asked to producers and whatnot to when the final film is delivered, 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah. They operate.
A regular movie takes longer than that.
It's a year for a regular movie.
Yeah.
3 months for a Hallmark movie. They operate on like a micro budget. They're always filmed in Canada. I'll specify that. They can go on micro budgets from like less than $1 million to maybe $2 million, which apparently is like barely anything in the TV world. Yeah. And that also allows some of the production companies to go under the union radar so they can keep all their crew costs low. And then also any tax credits that they have by filming in Canada takes even more like money that they would have to spend off. Worst case scenario, they're breaking even. Best case scenario, you make enough money to make something else with a creative risk. And they go on to say in the article, if you want a green light, don't get too crazy. The reason they all look and sound the same is because the network is involved and they know their main audience is Midwest Christians. Netflix did Let It Snow the year that this article came out. It's interracial, LGBTQ, beautifully shot, and a prime example of a Hallmark style movie that would never make it onto Hallmark. So, you know, you need to fit the parameters because the higher ups are combing through everything. They go on to talk about that you have about 3 to 4 weeks to get the script ready to shoot and streamline all the costs. You're basically working long hours to figure out everything. Writers bring out a script and then producers go through it with a fine-tooth comb to cut out any potentially expensive locations or unnecessary characters. They cut out children and animals whenever possible because they're quote-unquote too expensive.
And difficult to work with.
Yeah, potentially, take more time. Non-essentials like music licensing, stand-ins, or catering trucks typically don't make it into the final budget. The goal is to keep costs under $1 million, a micro budget that allows you to hire a non-union crew. Because it's a shoestring script, you'll be able to have a crew size to 15 or 20 people. And they're not paying competitive rates. So for instance, they gave the example of like a camera guy might make $100 a day at a union shoot, while on a Hallmark set, you only get $600 a day. So you have to get people that are willing to work for
But you
less.
said $100 a day.
$600 a day.
For the union shoot.
$800 a day for the union shoot, $600 a day for a Hallmark shoot.
So it's not like it's something that you want to pursue to make quick, rapid movies because you're making less money.
Yeah.
As a filmmaker, it's not like you definitely want to go that way.
I mean, if you just want to get your foot in the door and be a camera person when you're very young, you could do that. But if you've been in the industry for a while, I don't think you're going to rush to join a Hallmark
because you're also not going to be asked a lot of experience and tech smarts.
Another thing with that, though, is that it's because they have like that particular budget, they end up just having the same crew for every movie. Go from one shoot to another with only key positions like director, producer, and location manager ever changing. And then if you want the full tax credit in Canada, you can only hire Canadian actors, which is why you see all the same people in the same films.
Because no matter how big Canada is, there's only so many people.
Exactly. Apparently, one Vancouver-based actor that they're going to call Derek said that it's common for actors to shoot 6 Hallmark-style movies a year, which is so much dialogue. I know. Top talent gets paid an average of $900 a day, but sometimes big names will sign on because it's easy work. 2 weeks, no reshoots, minimal pressure.
That's true.
They get less, but it's no biggie, and anything to add to their resume, that sort of thing. Actors will typically receive scripts for an audition, get cast, and be fitted for a wardrobe all within 2 weeks, which is insane. Shooting is typically scheduled for a 15-day run with little wiggle room for overtime.
That's what they
Can
suck.
you imagine? Yeah, literally. Can you imagine?
You have no time to write it. You have no time to shoot it. You probably have no time to edit it.
You are working 12 hours a day for 15 days straight. I think I would lose my mind. Because you know that they're going to try to work for right up to 12. Because they need every time something goes wrong. Yeah. You don't want to push it to tomorrow because tomorrow you have an extremely strict schedule.
You don't want to do a reshoot.
Pressure, yeah.
If something goes wrong, we just fix it in post.
Or just cut it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane. And something that you also have to know is that you can't film every Christmas movie in the Christmas time because that's when you're premiering all these films. So all these films are filmed in the summer. So though these movies usually lack the resources to truly fake a winter wonderland, it goes on to say that snow is expensive and only once per movie will you actually see it snowing, which I did realize a lot of the movies. It's just a white background. Usually they use a soft focus lens so you don't notice it's just white blankets on the grass.
Oh my goodness.
Unlike union shows, the crew can't count on overtime. Every day is a race to finish within 12 hours. There is no director's cut, 3-hour alternative edits here. Producers get paid on delivery. So there's an incentive to deliver quickly so that financing costs don't skyrocket, even though there still may be a few months till the release date itself.
They make so much movie. Why are they so cheap?
I don't know.
It's not like they're making this much money because they're cheap.
Yeah.
I think if they came out with good quality, they will make even more.
This is like the fast fashion of filmmaking, I feel like.
Yeah. It's just that fast fashion, as much as bad quality you can get, it's so pretty looking sometimes.
Hey, you haven't seen all these Hallmark movies. Some of them are good looking.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not grow up with Hallmark movies. So they were in a thing in Colombia. We just had good movies and bad movies. But you didn't have Hallmark movies per se.
Yeah.
I just really need to take a look because for the ones that I've seen, I mean, Christmas Holly, good story. I like the movie. It's not beautiful. It's a movie.
Then again, I've always shown you the bootleg version, so maybe we should watch the real one.
I've seen it. I've seen it. Ooh.
Yeah, maybe we want to do a little bit of a deep dive into just some beautiful looking Hallmark movies. I think it's the knockoff Hallmarks that might ruin its reputation.
That's true, because many times you start thinking Hallmark-esque, like I'm doing right now, and you think of Movie Hub or all of these other channels that are trying to replicate it with even less money, even less time, even worse actors. So it might be the reputation that everyone is like, oh, that's a Hallmark movie. Come on.
So one more thing I want to add about how these movies are made, something that I noticed when watching them is that they are dialogue heavy.
Yes.
And obviously I know that has a lot to do with how they don't want to move from location to location with a lot of action. That takes way more time.
There isn't a lot of room for interpretation.
Exactly. It's very straightforward. This is the conversation that they're having. And so I did some more research on how actors felt. Did a lot of research.
I'm just getting reminded of like, hey, this is me, Mark, from high school. How are you doing with your new job?
Oh, hi, Mark.
Doing accounting in this specific place. Oh, hi, Mark from high school.
Oh, hi, Mark.
I haven't seen prom day this year.
Please understand where that comes from. Please, we can put in a graphic. But yeah, actors obviously need to memorize hundreds of lines, especially if they're doing these movies a lot. They would shoot about 8 to 11 pages of script each day.
That's so much.
Which is so much dialogue. The poor script supervisors.
I know.
They're hurting. They're trying to mark down what lines they missed. And then obviously because they're filming in the summer, they have to produce these performances while surrounded in fake snow with heavy winter coats on and scarves when they are just drenched in sweat, and that just sounds like torture.
And this really comes to show how much dialogue there really is, because in a regular movie, since there isn't so much dialogue, but there is a lot of like action and descriptions within the script. 1 page of script is equivalent to more or less a minute. A
minute, yeah.
So if you're shooting 10 pages a day for 15 days, that's a lot more minutes than the final movie is, supposedly with a regular script. But since there's so much text, you get through text actually quicker on the script. So each page might actually be equivalent to 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Which is quite insane. That just comes to show how much text there is, because the movies are not particularly long.
No, they're short and sweet. I don't think I've ever even seen one that's like 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
You know. So, the elephant in the room. Why are Hallmark movies all the same? There is a formula. And
maybe we can make one.
I can go into it. I think that's a good challenge.
Ooh.
We should make a Hallmark
15
movie.
days with, we don't have 1 million, but let's be honest, you can make it with $100.
Yes. You can make this with ChatGPT as your script writer. Yeah. We'll do it. We'll let you know if
Coming
we do
soon.
It. Coming soon. So as far as these projects go, the networks accept, like, so they put Lifetime and Hallmark, and Lifetime is like Hallmark, but I've seen more diverse actors.
Okay.
Like Hallmark is white, Lifetime is more mixed, if that makes sense. But both of them kind of have that similar made-for-TV original films vibe. So they often like accept ideas from several different writers, and that's like who you're pitching to. And so when you're hired, you have about 6 weeks if you're lucky to write your script. So that's why you kind of go through a process, a formula. It's almost down to like the minute of what's happening. So first off, Hallmark executives go through and cut out any heavy drinking, no acting drunk, drugs, no nudity, explicit sex, no swearing, fighting, or any actual like fist-to-fist contact, whether that be conflict or anything spicy. I think the only thing that could be close to that is a kiss. And I mean a kiss. I don't think I've ever seen anything more. Yeah. The kiss is usually at the very end of the movie. Divorce is discouraged. Widowhood is preferred if a partner has to be dispensed of. And so they go on to say that, like, you wouldn't want to see those things in a Christmas movie.
Which is funny that Christmas with Holly has widowhood. Well, no, because it's a sister that died. Yeah. There is actually someone
single
leaving
fatherhood, leaving the girlfriend.
And being left at the altar. Being cheated on.
But it's all a little different.
It's all a little fluffy.
It's all shown to be like, oh.
It is not really shown.
Exactly. It's you more see how people react to it. Yeah. The story has to make you feel good and uplifting, and it has to take you to a magical place. Make you feel safe. So the formula it begins with like a certain type of protagonist, usually a beautiful career woman with a heart of gold, meeting a nice man. Just a nice man.
So a city girl with a town boy.
Oh yeah. Around the 18-minute mark, the first commercial break, there is an almost kiss. And by the halfway point, there's a Christmas-related debacle.
No.
By the end, the couple ends up under the mistletoe
market.
or near a Christmas tree, and they share one tender kiss before living happily ever after. That is the formula. That is the step-by-step guide on how to make a Hallmark movie. Almost kiss, debacle, kiss at the end, credits roll. It's perfect. They tend to center on independent women with interesting jobs, whether that be a novelist, a chocolatier, a lawyer who lost the true meaning of Christmas, an appealing...
Or wants to have her own firm.
Exactly. And then you match that with an appealing romantic prospect. Mind you...
The male.
I need to say this. Okay. I don't know if you know... If any of you read romance novels, I'm speaking directly to you guys right now. Enemies to Lovers is, I think, the most popular romance book genre subtype of all time. Tell me why every male love interest in the Hallmark movie is just nice.
They're not enemies.
He's a golden retriever. The only issue is her. It's always her. It's always her that's the issue. And that's why I'm annoyed at some of these. Because the guy is just, I'm a prince. What do you want from me? I'm a fireman. I have to save lives and you're demanding attention
it's always like
from me.
We're in this together.
Exactly.
We're not against each other.
It's like he's in love with her, but
she has
almost
issues.
thoughtless, and she just needs to fix it. Like, that's like what I get a lot.
I love you, but the mail, I'm gonna lose the mail.
Christmas at Windmill Way. So yeah, literally all of the romantic lovers, who are always male, by the way, just always are appealing and romantic and lovey-dovey, and
you
very
have
rarely
to also fall in love with them.
Yeah, very rarely a villain, because they have all these redeeming characteristics that just make up for any red flag you might see. So obviously programming is seasonal. As the year progresses, the characters will always pair up either in a winter wonderland, a Valentine's Day chocolate making contest, fireworks celebrations, a pumpkin patch, a Christmas party. The familiarity of these films is essential to their success. Hallmark screenplays have 9 acts, each of which hits specific plot points. A meet cute in Act 1 before the first commercial, and almost kiss in Act 8. You just go through the flow.
I think more often than not, this is the kind of movie that when you walk around in your life, you're like, I feel like my life is a movie right now. More often than not, it's a Hallmark movie.
Yeah, your Hallmark movie
like you're
moments.
sitting, like the motorcycle guy at the Barnes and Noble, just looking at books, and a girl appears. Hey, are you looking for a book in specific?
A book in specific?
Specific book.
There you go. That's a better way to say that. So they also have a checklist for Christmas-related things that need to be shown or that could be shown to also keep up the thing that it is Christmas. So whether that be wrapping presents, getting a Christmas tree, baking cookies.
Always they're getting
warm
Christmas
and
tree.
fuzzy holiday feelings.
Hot cocoa.
Posing on FaceTime like this, being like, hi, I just hung up the tree. I literally saw that in this Christmas Prince movie the other day on the Movie Hub. Oh, we gotta stop playing that channel. I'm gonna memorize those movies.
I want to see what they're gonna play in February.
I know. So the movies really strike a balance between realism and something that's more idealized.
Yeah.
It's like a paradox, I guess. Of the channel is that the artificiality of its content, which offers predictable pleasures, the almost kiss interrupted by a fringing phone or a bleeding goat, the ubiquitous baking contest, is often delivered alongside with surprisingly realistic performances. Unlike modern rom-coms, Hallmark plots, which almost always feature romance, even alongside the murder investigations, are driven not by arc concepts, hijinks, or a panic about being single, but by what someone describes as a voyage of self-discovery. Protagonists are often motivated by their goals as much as by love. The actor Anna Van Hooft specializes in playing Hallmark villains. A bride-to-be who buys a wedding dress that was on hold for someone else. A murderer. Dun, dun, Even the villains tend to have their eyes on their goals, but not on the people around them, she said. For example, the marriage, but not the man. Hallmark movies also have been overwhelmingly white, cis, straight, and vaguely Christian. But I saw the CEO say plenty of times that they try to keep their films quote unquote apolitical. Yeah. So you're never going to see them really talking about anything more than just it's Christmas and we're in love. That's it. They're not really going to delve into that.
So we just finished watching Love Actually, another Christmas classic. And I think the different plot lines, the different storylines in Love Actually is what Hallmark movies could be if there wasn't so many restrictions.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
If there weren't trying to go for, again, the Midwestern white woman audience, Christian woman audience, then they can have a lot more fun.
Because you can get the cheating husband, you can get the relationship that didn't work out.
But again, they want you to feel good. They don't want you to ever feel bad. They want to leave all the realism for your real life.
Yeah.
They're selling an escape. I actually just heard of a book that I actually want to read now. Unprompted shout out to this person, but this person on TikTok wrote a book in which she was like, what if Hallmark, like a company like Hallmark, sold tickets to like a land in which you could go visit and have your own Hallmark journey, and her friend, the main character's friend, wins 2 tickets, so they go together and try to live their Hallmark reality while also trying to figure out, is this real or is everybody just a paid actor? Because it feels really real.
Amazing.
If I find what that book looks like, I'm gonna put it in the video. Make
a Hallmark cozy movie theater.
Yeah.
With like blankets and warm hot cocoa.
Exactly. Yeah. So I guess this is kind of where the slight controversies also come in. Because I mean, there's plenty of Christmas movies, I think now. There's
too many to choose from.
Yeah, there's too many to choose from. But I think with Hallmark in particular, because they try to stick to that one audience, they're not going to be as diverse. So they're going to have a few Hanukkah-related movies. I have not heard of any plot that involves anyone who's LGBTQ at all. They had a few movies in which the protagonist is not white, but not many. And honestly, in a lot of the movies that I have seen, there's just no non-white people at all.
Yeah.
Every person in the movie is white. And yeah, it's just primarily straight, white, conservative undertones, I guess you can say. Because like I said, they don't show anything explicitly.
It is not conservative in the political sense.
It's conservative in the lifestyle sense.
Yeah.
It definitely gives off small town. You never left after you graduated high school. You're going to the baking show.
Trying to save the farm.
You're saving the farm. You're running for mayor.
You're coming back to your family.
You're milking the cows in the morning. It's that vibe. I don't think it's ever going to really deviate unless it's the upscale businesswoman moving to a small place.
It's never the farm guy moves into the city with the girl.
Exactly. Definitely not. I've never heard of that. So, yeah. Apparently in 2020, 25% of Hallmark movies featured diversity in some way. Which apparently is a vast improvement. There was even a movie released last year. I think this article was posted in 2021 when they said this. But it showed a woman taking a large sip of red wine. Scandalous.
No.
Drinking. No. So, yeah, I mean,
I think all in all, Hallmark movies are a Christmas staple that you can decide to ignore or not. But I think as far as it goes to the movie industry, there isn't a lot of actual like meat production in it.
Yeah.
There isn't a lot of juice in their movies, but it's still something I personally will consume.
It's weird. They're like, the plots are so weird that you want to know what happens.
Yeah, it's easily
digestible. And they're always so feel good that you don't feel like,
it's like if you want to feel some jolliness, but you're not trying to go through the motions.
If you're not trying to feel sad at all, watch a Hallmark movie. If you want to laugh at how cringy it is, you watch a Hallmark movie.
Like all in all,
simple facts.
I mean, imagine watching a Hallmark movie after many drinks with your friends on Christmas Day. Mm-hmm. That sounds hilarious.
I need to do that. You just gave me a great thing to do with some girlfriends.
Hallmark movies also are just the perfect movie, even if you've never seen it, to play it in the background and do something else.
Yeah.
You're not going to miss anything at all. When you come back to the TV, it's still going to be the same plot and you're going to know what's happened.
I'm just still so curious, like, how they're doing it. It seems crazy because, like I said, in our age range, they're so ridiculous that they're a meme. And I feel like people are going to continue, like, watching them for the meme factor. Not because they are impressed by the idealistic nature of the film. But then again, romance is the number one book genre. Like, I think just across the board. It might just be for women, but I think it's also across the board. Yeah. It is the most sold book genre out of all of them. There's something about love stories that we so eat up as human beings.
Especially when they're not disheartening.
Yeah, especially when they end on a happily ever after. Everybody likes a happily ever after.
Yeah.
You know? And obviously, like you can wish that there was some diversity in the storylines. Maybe a little something more fun. You can only go off the small town vibe so long. Apparently, they're actually running out of places to film in Vancouver because they've used almost every single small town that exists there.
I mean, love him or hate him, Hallmark is successful and it's going to continue to be successful.
Especially now that they're streaming everything. Like, they're going to keep making money. I don't think that train's ever going to end.
So you should try to enjoy him. I mean, know that if you're watching a Hallmark movie, you're not getting necessarily a good movie.
But I thought we knew that when we put it on. Anyways, that is our episode for today. Let us know what your thoughts are. We definitely had a lot of fun doing this deep dive.
I really loved it. I had no idea what I was coming into. Kaylin was just saying, I'm doing some research for the Hallmark episode. You have to react to it. But I'm pleasantly surprised. There was a lot of work put behind this.
Yes, definitely.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for being here with us one more time. Today is the day before Christmas Eve. So Christmas Eve's Eve.
Oh, hold on. Specify. We're filming this at midnight. Technically on Saturday
I'm saying
morning.
the day we're posting.
I guess.
This episode comes out Christmas Eve's Eve.
Fine.
So obviously be on the lookout. Christmas Eve is tomorrow. Christmas Day is the day after.
There might be a little something being posted.
But till then, you can follow us on Instagram as NCOT the podcast. You can follow our YouTube channel if you're listening to it right now as That Film Couple. You can also find us with the same username on TikTok as That Film Couple. We post some good stuff in there. You'll find some clips from podcasts, clips from our live and vlogs and whatnot. And you can also find us on Twitch now, actually, as Sebas1K. And you can find me on Instagram as Sebi.mp4.
And you can find me at Caitlin.mp4.
Am I missing anything?
I think that was everything.
All
bases covered.
Thank you for being here one more week, and we'll see you in the next one.
And cut. That was a good one. Yay.